to Blabbing on Saturday. Let's start it now, Ollie. You ready to go? Yeah, let's count it down for 30 seconds.
I know I'll do it. I'll do my own version of the walk out there.
Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Culver Road and tonight's Sussex Women's Challenge Cup final between Brighton, Hove, Albion and Lewes. I'm delighted to be joined this evening by the one, the only, the legend that can only be known as Ollie Ordis. Good evening, Ollie.
Wow, Dean, that's an emphatic introduction.
Well, I only say that because as a man that has got close connections with both of these clubs, you must be absolutely salivating at the prospect of tonight's cup final.
Oh, absolutely. When I saw both these sides had made their way through to the final, I was delighted, of course, got close allegiances with both sides. Lewes, of course, more recent than Brighton, was their club commentator. Well, still am, but have been so for the last 3 seasons, started with their women's team, so I know this team well. As for Brighton, of course, a boyhood Brighton fan, so I'm up against, well, it's a fixture which sees a team that I've supported since I was young versus a side that I have very close connections with of late due to the start of my commentary career.
Well, I don't want to ask you an awkward question, but that's my job, so I'm going to. Where does your heart lie this evening?
Oh, I would have to say it does with Lewes. I feel like they were my first real team that I really got behind the women's game and really taught me, and it was a massive eye-opener to how great the women's game is. And it's just growing and growing, which is excellent to see, and this will be a brilliant advertisement of that for how good the Sussex women's game really is.
And the Sussex women's game really is growing. I remember starting out a little bit further ago, but with the Brighton's women's team before the Women's Super League started, that season that was kind of a meaningless play-out season when Brighton women were already secured their place. And it's amazing to see how much not just the women's game's grown, but how Brighton and Hove Albion are kind of leading that through Sussex.
Certainly, they are the pioneers, if you like, in this county, and I think a lot of other clubs should try and emulate what they're doing if they're not already. And of course, talking about being pioneers, Lewes are pioneers in their own right, not just bringing women's football into the forefront of what they want to do, but they're they are the first club to pay the men's and women's the same salaries, and that's why they're referred to as Equality FC. That's a huge, what's the phrase? Ultra selling point, USP. It's a huge part of USP and why Lewes has got such a well-renowned status.
And it's a fantastic, stance that the club have got, and they've had it ever since I've been following them. And in fact, the women's team have been so close to getting to that WSL spot on a couple of occasions. They're looking to bounce themselves back up into the Championship as we have got the signal. I believe the teams are about to make their way out. But two great teams, two pioneers of women's football in Sussex.
And I think that's why this fixture is so special, because you do have these two sides going for it against one another. And the vibe is immaculate, really nice. It makes such a difference when the sun's out, but you can just tell everyone's in a good mood, everyone's looking forward to this one, not just us, but I hope everyone back home is ready for this one, just like we are.
We want to thank you very much for listening to today's coverage, powered by your instant replay, as the teams do make their way out of the pitch. Brighton Hove Albion in their traditional blue and white shirts, blue shorts and white socks. Lewes in red and black shirts, black shorts and black socks. Traditional colours, that's what we like to see in a final. Two big clubs that are looking to win this trophy, to add to their collection. Brighton Hove Albion are the trophy record winners, 19 in their history. Lewes have won it on 4 previous occasions and looking to make it number 5. And you can hear the atmosphere around us. There are over 500 tickets sold for today's game ahead of kickoff. So it's a real healthy attendance here at Culver Road, and you can feel it. And you're right, the sun's out, the beer is flowing, should you say, and there are smiles all around as you look.
Both teams and match officials will be presented to.
So as we go through the official awarding ceremony of the introduction to the Deputy Chair of the Sussex FA, let's just run through the two lineups. We'll start with Brighton Hove Albion, who are the designated home team this evening. In goal for them is number 64, Lily Murray, number 4, Emily Gay, number 41, Clara Bella Hall, number 46, Eliana Martin, number 47, Evie Milner, number 48, Taria Heron, number 58, Damiola Atenero, number 60, Captain Jess Pegram, number 61, May Balmer, number 62, Hannah Jones, and number 63, Olivia Johnson. On the bench for them, Daunt, Hester, Guest, Marshall Miranda and Fowler. Well, your Rickettes this evening line up like this. Emily Moore will be in goal for them, wearing number 1. Maddie Brandt at number 3. Number 4 is Sydney Streemayer. Number 6 is Captain Hannah Godfrey. Number 8, Layla Proctor. Number 10, Olivia Carpenter. Number 14, Paula Howes. Number 15, Lucy Connolly-Brame. Number 16, Sarah Harvey. Number 18, Lois Roach. Number 21, Kate Gilligan. And the substitutes for Lewes: Glass Oliver, Ginger, Fatuga Dada, Bacon and Lane.
Really looking forward to this. The Lewes fans in superb voice early doors. I don't think I've heard Culver Road this bouncing since I've been doing games here. Perhaps you could say differently, Dean, but I can see a few familiar faces just in front of us. You've got Joe, Sinclair and Trevor, the current chairman at the moment, hitting against the advertisement boards, making their voices heard for their Rook side as they face it'll be a difficult game. Of course, Natalie Lawrence was saying before coming into this game how for this Lewes side, it's obviously they haven't really come up against these other academy teams, so although it may feel like because they play senior football they could be the favourites, they're still against a side that are so well drilled and will be so well organised and technical as well. So it's two different style outfits. Of course, the assistant manager for Brighton was mentioning about how Lewes, they face senior players week in, week out, but for this Brighton side, when they're coming up against other people their age, other players who are 18, 19, it's a completely different type of physicality, so it's going to be interesting to see how it pans out.
Indeed, but there are two teams and two managers that are known for playing a good level of football. They both like to keep the ball, and just in preparation for this one, I mean, Lewes had the perfect preparation on Sunday. I mean, a 7-0 dismantling of MK Dons, which has certainly sent them into this one on the high at the end of a regular season that maybe has not hit the heights that they'd have expected, but it was certainly a nice way to sign off ahead of this big cup final.
Certainly, I think they started this season slow. Only had 2 draws out of their first 5 games, and relegation did seem like a slight concern, albeit it was very early on in the season, back in September. What really helped them was then 5 wins in their next 7 games after that slow start, which really assured any relegation concerns that may have been felt. early doors. Since then, they've had 4 draws in a row from February to March, which has steered them nicely into mid-table. But I think Lewes, anyone associated with Lewes, will say, do you know what? Although they came down last season, it doesn't mean they're necessarily going to want to go straight back up. It was a bit of a rebuilding process. So to make sure they're just safe in mid-table, going into the season with an emphatic win, and then hopefully getting a win today could really start that momentum going to next season, which is where I'm sure they'll push on to get back to where they feel they belong in the Women's Championship.
Indeed. I should just give a shout out to a bit of history here for the Sussex FA. The first time ever in a cup final, 4 female officials, led by referee Imogen Gates. And you can see the 3 officials there, the 2 assistants, Olga, easy for me to say, Svakevich and Izzy Childs. The 4th official is Michelle Watkins. So a monumental occasion in that sense as well, and a real celebration of the women's game at all levels within Sussex.
Absolutely, I think what it does is it doesn't just say to young girls around Sussex that they should be a footballer. It actually also allows them to feel like there can be a journey into being a 4th official, which is something that girls probably haven't felt that they can have a career path in. So it just extends the opportunity for women in the game of football rather than just being a player.
Indeed. So, 2 captains with the coin toss. Which way do you want to play? The sun's going to set over to our left as we're looking on. Are you in favour of trying to get the goalkeeper to have to deal with that awkward sunset? Or do you think we're past that already?
Well, do you know what, Dean? If I'm going to be really particular, I would have to say I would rather be shooting to our right first if you're a goalkeeper, because the sun's going to go down in around an hour's time. That'll be the start of the second half. When the sun's down below those houses, we're looking at it in that kind of way. It means that whoever's to our right won't actually have had to deal with any sunlight. So,
well, I can tell you that it's Lewes that have got the favourable draw there, and off camera you won't see the secret fist bump that Ollie gave us there. As Brighton Hove Albion will get us underway.
I'm loving the music as well, really adding to the occasion.
Indeed. Well, Olivia Johnson stands over the ball. You do wonder the step up in level. You mentioned about the physicality being different, women's football versus academy football. And you can see how Brighton are lined up already. They have got 8 of their 10 outfield players lined up. You know where this ball's going to go. We talk about the passing football. This is going to go long early, and they're going to try and test out this Lewes back line.
Of course. Well, it's a sturdy back line. They've only conceded 28 goals this season, so they've had a very modest defence.
And they are immediately looking to that, but it's immediately well won back by Proctor. So the game plan there was literally to take it straight through the heart of that Lewes midfield, but they stood strong. And Proctor is a player that you know well.
Well, I think a lot of these Lewes players today, what we'll notice is they're a very balanced side, and all of these players know their roles.
To work it into the box. Only chance here for Martin maybe to work it ball in. Lewes do well to force the ball outside the area. Cross headed away by Harvey.
Astute defender Sarah Harvey. She's made a really good partnership with Hannah Godfrey, who came in the January of 2024 to provide experience for what was a very young Lewes side last season and still is.
And that's a chance for them to develop as Brighton get the first corner of the game, and immediately followed up by the seconds. Good defending from Gilligan, who's we weren't essentially sure. Lewes, we think they're going to line up in a 4-3-3 formation or sort of 4-3-2-1 formation. We'll see how that pans out. It certainly looks as though Carpenter's the furthest forward. As this corner is going to be whipped in towards the edge of the 18-yard box. That was turned away by Howes. Jones keeps it alive for Brighton. Early pressure from the Seagulls. And you can start to hear the Lewes supporters behind the goal that they're attacking, not only getting a suntan, but working their voices as well.
They've always been, and now Brighton tried to show that they're here, and I think fair play to them. Lewes setting the standards.
Indeed, and that ball's allowed to bounce through. Here's the first touch for Carpenter. Good hold-up play from her. Proctor
one thing special about Lewes, especially their support for the women's team, is that they do get good numbers away from home, and their support is always praised by the club and other fans around the division.
And it's nice they're enjoying a bit of the ball now. Here's Harvey. Closed down by Johnson. And ultimately winning a free kick. How important is it for Lewes to settle on the ball on an occasion like this?
I think they're going to want to just gather some sort of comfortability on the ball. I think they'll be fancying their chances this game. They'll understand that they've had the senior experience against this Brighton side that obviously can work in their favour. And they're a side that do like to enjoy the ball. They play with a good pace, a good tempo. Very rarely do you feel that you're watching a side that just like to pass it around the back for the sake of it. They do like to progress it.
Ball's allowed to bounce all the way through. Here's House trying to feed it through to Carpenter. Brighton able to win it back though.
Good to see Lois Roche showing her leadership skills in that midfield, trying to set the tone for the rest of her midfield and her team around her, and getting stuck in the challenges. And you can see them tripling up there over on that far side already. Great intensity shown from the Rooks.
Foul given there, but Scrimaire making a nuisance of herself in the middle of the park, and she's somewhat of a disruptor in there, part of a midfield three.
She is. Sydney Trymeyer's really impressed me this season when she's played. She likes to break up play, progress the ball, and then when she's got the players around her like Layla Proctor and Lois Roche, who are two, especially Roche, more defensive-minded players, it allows Trymeyer to try and get forward on occasions.
Atenero works it up the line. Johnson has been forced back. You can see the physicality there. Free kick eventually, though, goes against Connolly Brain. And we say about the physical side of things, but you know, you look at Olivia Johnson there, she's certainly got a good couple of inches, or even if maybe more than that, on the fullback Connolly Brain.
Connolly Brain, not the tallest player on the pitch, but she's got a brilliant right foot, knows how to put a ball into the box, and that's something this back line of Brighton will have to deal with, I'm sure, on a few occasions.
Well, we know Brighton like to take risks with the ball. They've been caught in possession there.
You can already see as well, I just noticed Damiola Atenero just trying to shove into her opposition player there. We were speaking about how Lewes may have the physical advantage on Brighton, but you can just see Brighton just trying to maybe use their bodies a bit more perhaps than they would typically play in their development leagues.
You can see the physicality already as both teams looking to get that early dominance. That's nice there from Proctor. Ball whipped in from Howes, headed away by Gate. And that's handball in a free kick in a really promising position. And you have to give Scrimaire put her head in where it could hurt, forcing the mistake and forcing the free kick, and an early chance for Olivia Carpenter from this free kick.
I think Jess Pegram, the centre-half there and captain, didn't really do her team many favours where she headed the ball. She headed it into a heavily congested Lewes area.
There's plenty of bodies forward here for Lewes as the congregate of Ricketts fans stand behind that goal. Eyes shielded from the sun. Early test for Lily Murray as it's whipped in towards that far post, and there's a free man. It was the captain, Anna Godfrey, who was almost unmarked there, couldn't quite capitalise, and Brighton able to clear.
It's a good ball played in, really good delivery. I thought they may have played it to Howes, who was in acres of space down this right-hand side, isolated, but Olivia Carpenter, of course, on dual registration. She does actually play for Brighton, but has been with Lewes this season. She's been their top scorer. Well, no, not her second top scorer, sorry. Of course, before the weekend, Paula Howes was on equal amount of goals as Olivia Carpenter.
Lovely ball there from Godfrey. And here goes Connolly Brahim into the box and just overruns it. Touch comes in from Atenero. It's Lewis's first corner.
Good work from Lewes.
So you're mentioning about Carpenter having that dual registration. As Is that difficult, do you think, for a player to play against your parent club in a competition like this?
I was thinking that before this game. It's certainly something that not a lot of players will have experienced. I'm sure though she'll have built such bonds with this Lewes side in the last year that she'll feel like a Lewes player this evening.
And she'll certainly want to get her hands on that trophy as this corner's whipped in towards the edge of the 6-yard box. It's headed away. And now potentially a chance for a break, but Shremeya is there to gobble up the pieces once more. Lovely footwork from Howes. Cross in towards the penalty spot. There's 2 players at the back post. There's a header. Easy in the end for Lily Murray. But there were 2 2 Lewes players free at the back post. And that's a promising early start for the Rockettes.
Paula Howes already showing her quality. Of course, she's had 2 stints at Lewes. She was at Lewes up until 2023, and then funnily enough went to Saltdean last year and won this competition with them.
Saltdean, the current holders of this competition, they were knocked out ultimately by Lewes in the semi-final. They had the bizarre situation where they played their development side in the quarterfinals and they decided not to play the game. And they were given the awarded win. As
Saltdean?
Saltdean, yeah. Both the first team and the development squad were due to play each other in the quarterfinals. It was a walkover win for the first team. And then their run in this competition ended at the semi-final stage, a 2-0 victory for Lewes, which saw them secure their place. Brighton had a relatively comfortable victory against Stenning Town as Gay just takes a bit of a risk at the back there. Brighton players always encouraged to take time on the ball, not be afraid to make the pass.
The better of Shremeya there. Often someone who knows how to nick the ball off the opposition, but it was good work from Atenaro, who's had a lively start to this game so far.
Long ball down on the outside.
You can see the fullbacks just pushing up for Lewes when Brighton managed to get the ball into the half.
There's a bit of space in here. Chance to fire one in on goal. 2 players inside the box. Instead, it was an early test for Emily Moore, and she was more than equal to it.
You're proud of that pun there?
There'll be more where that came from.
Long ball forwards. Here, Dean.
We try as Howes just had to deal with her awkward bounce. It just bounced away from her. Wasn't favourable, but she's once again showing that nimble footwork and found the pass in field. Helped on by Proctor. Still kept alive. Roach getting involved as Lewes is starting to set up camp in Brighton territory.
You can see how Howes, when she gets on the ball, she's starting to make things happen. So far, she's been Lewis's most promising asset on the pitch this evening.
It's not
one
the
of those
first
players
time.
that if you get the ball to her, something's going to happen.
Indeed, that's not the first time they've tried that ball. Carpenter looking for that ball in behind the fullback for Connolly Brame, who's given licence to go forwards here. It certainly playing in a fullback position. It looks like they're playing 3 at the back for the majority, and Connolly Brame's being more of a wing-back position.
Then you've got Gilligan on that far side, occupying like a left wing back.
Referee plays advantage there. Certainly suspicion of handball as here goes Heron. Heron looking to drive into the box. Just checks back on her left foot, looking for support. Just showed a bit too much of it and lost possession, and Lewes able to clear. Given away this time by Gay. Just for a moment there, I thought it was going to open up for House to slip in Carpenter. She might well have been offside had the ball been played through.
Terrific footwork shown from Roche as well to try and play that ball forward over towards Howes. And I, like yourself, Dean, did think if they were able to get it in behind, it would have been a glorious opportunity for Carpenter early on.
Connolly Brame there, just doing well to sell the dummy to Atenaro.
Loud atmosphere here now, Dean.
It's what you want. You want both sets of fans to get involved. Speaking of getting involved, of course, this is the senior women's trophy next week at the Amex Stadium. It's the big trophy. It's the Sussex Transport Senior Cup final between Horsham and Littlehampton Town. Next Thursday live, as a nearly moment there. It looks like Proctor's feeling the effects of that challenge as well. So do come and join us down at the Amex next week. And right now, it's all about the women's game. It's all about Brighton, Hove, Albion and Lewes. Goldus in the opening exchanges. Neither goalkeeper truly tested just yet. And I'd say both managers will probably be happy with how their sides have started. Lewes probably dominating possession slightly more, but Brighton looks threatening when they've attacked, particularly on that right-hand side.
Especially in a game like this, when it's a final, you just want to ensure the first quarter of an hour at least no one really makes any mistakes, which can often lead to a game that sometimes starts off quite dull to watch. But so far it's been high intensity, just no clear-cut opportunities opening just yet. You'd expect that from two robust defences.
There's Proctor looking to feed it into the feet of Carpenter. It's well watched by Pegram. No free kick given.
No work from Schreimeyer, using her body really, really well. Brighton thought they had a call there to win a foul, but the referee was having none of it. And that's good work from Connolly Brain, who bombs up and down that right-hand side so much.
This is one to throw in. It's Clarabella Hall who's causing a real nuisance up top for Brighton. Space for Proctor. Looks to play the ball inside, just the wrong side of Roach. And this is where Brighton do look dangerous.
You can already see Clarabella Hall
turnover
occupying in between Hannah Godfrey
Heron's
and Maddie
got pace. Heron again looking to drive into the box and once again overruns it. She certainly does look like she's got some speed on her. Just a couple of times there she's been in a promising position and just maybe made the wrong choice in overrunning the ball. But Lewes can't afford to give her too many opportunities because you only need to get it right once.
Absolutely, and when Brighton have got the ball into promising positions, a lot of it has come down their right-hand side. It feels like there's been some chances opening up on the opposite side of the penalty area where the ball currently is, but that's sloppy hold-up play.
That's a lovely bit of footwork and skill from Johnson.
Already you're seeing the confidence showing from Olivia Johnson. That's 2 times now where she's shown off her silky tricks. And they've been effective.
It's not for showmanship, it's been effective and it's been at the right time. Oh, Gay just delayed the pass. 2 Brighton players that made the run on Johnson would have been in. She'd got between the full-back and the centre-back. It's Proctor. Just reorganises that midfield for Lewes. Gay out to the right-hand side. Here's Heron. Brighton looking to once again working on that right-hand side, but so far Lewes standing firm. It's a really good challenge.
Layla Proctor's a fantastic central midfielder. She's played so many games this season. She's popped up with a few important goals as well. Just manages to control that midfield. And like I said earlier, Lewes has got such a fantastic balance around this side. And a lot of these players start week in, week out. So they've really got some consistency with their starting 11. And you can see it, especially in the second half of the season.
Another half chance for a break there. And the offside surely would have gone up, and it has gone up against Tanner Jones. Well, you mentioned about the supporters here in the stadium. I believe there's someone watching at home that you need to give a shout out to this evening.
Absolutely. Big shout out to Gaz the Hat, one of the maintenance staff at the dripping pan. He's currently suffering with a broken hip, so Dean and I wish you a speedy recovery, Gaz the Hat. I'm sure everyone else that knows you will do as well.
Indeed.
It's a shame you
And
can't
so do
be
the
here.
Sussex County FA. I've just had the nods.
Yeah.
As
What a terrific job he does as well. It's just like everyone at the dripping pan. They've got such a committed staff, such committed volunteers that work tirelessly to make the dripping pan the best possible place it can be. And that's what is another reason why the club is so special.
And that is non-league football is about. It's about volunteers, it's about community, it's about building something you can be proud of. And Lewes will hope to make Gaz the Hat proud by securing victory and bringing home some silverware this evening. As that keeper comes and doesn't get there. Just for a moment it looked like it was going to flick towards goal, but it's out on this near side by the corner flag again, and brilliant work once more by Connolly Brain to force the corner. Lewes looking to put the pressure on.
Just felt for a while Brighton were just starting to grow into the game. Hadn't really looked to our right for the last 5 or so minutes. Of course, Lewes came out well. Nice show from Paula Howes, who sent in some good deliveries, as did Olivia Carpenter.
He stands over the ball right now. Delivery towards that near post, and could have been sneaking in before it was turned away. My Pegram. It's Carpenter once more. Rolls a foot over the ball into the box. The captain, Godfrey, just trying to battle through a whole posse of Brighton players and ultimately losing out, and now she's out of position. But there, once again, Connolly Brain to win the ball back for Lewes, and there's Howell with that little cheeky floating delivery up towards Lewis Roach. And there's Howell again, showing that commitment, throwing her body on the line.
She doesn't stop running. There's a phrase amongst Lewes fans who say Paula Howells only scores worldies. We've seen a lot of them at the dripping pan. Of course, she scored a hat-trick on Sunday against MK Dons. Originally she was on 5 goals, tied with Olivia Carpenter. Now she finished the season as their top goal scorer and collected the match ball, deservedly so.
Lewes once again turning the ball over inside the Brighton half, and that's a loose delivery, a loose pass that's been picked up by Johnson. Johnson, lovely roll from her. She looks to open up her body, and she's got support with Atenero. Johnson hits the back of Atenero, picked up by Hall. Atenero just tries to come in on her right foot. Hall tries to get on her right foot, never quite got hold of it. In the end, I think Godfrey got a touch just to take any possible sting off the shot.
I think Proctor got a little bit hurt as well in that collision. Committed defending shown from Lewes, but really impressive attacking from Brighton. Not just the skill, but also the ability to get the ball in such strong areas. You felt like there was going to be an opportunity where the striker for Brighton there, Clarabella Hall, could have just rolled it past, tried to roll it past Emily Moore.
Thankfully, Proctor's back up. Yeah, but Oliver Johnson, just first time we've really seen her open up and get involved in an attacking sense. And there is Howell. I was going to say the Duracell bunny because you say she keeps running, but I won't use that reference again, I promise. As Gay just takes a risk, and that forces Murray to make a choice, and she just about gets away with it. Lewes with the heavy press, and they want the throw-in. It's not going to go their way, but Brighton living a little bit dangerously at the back there. Gay not getting enough on her pass, and and Murray also likewise just about getting enough on hers. Howe gets a heavy challenge, no free kick given. Howe has stayed down, and it does look like she was caught after the ball had gone.
Hopefully nothing concerning. She's holding her forehead as she went down.
I think that's
Sarah
more...
Harvey just going in to make sure her number 14 is okay. Just giving a chance for Brighton to regroup. Starting to see more of the play come down this left-hand side now. I suppose they can be quite expansive, Brighton, and use both flanks.
It looks like the left wrist of Paula Howes that was causing her a bit of bother, but she's up and had a little look. She's okay. And the impromptu team talk had by Danny Bowman.
I think only a few words could have been said by Danny Bowman then. Of course, she was mentioning before the game how much of a massive achievement this is for the girls, and highlighted how well they've performed this season, saying it's nice to acknowledge the hard work they've done. Of course, the whole tie game are going to be quite an experience for the staff and players. And obviously she highlighted how the opposition in Lewes have been senior, and therefore coming up against this level of opposition has meant that the players have had to use their footballing brain a bit more, and that's not just this evening but also in the games so far.
And that's again picked up by Connolly Brain. Brain just got caught surely after she looked to drive forwards. Not given, and Brighton can clear. Not for the first time. Brighton concede possession inside their own final third, and that will be something certainly that Danny Bowman will want to stamp out as this game goes on.
It felt like if there was a bit more power on that pass from Connolly Brain, she was a little off balance when she laid it off with her left. And there could have been a really good opportunity. Still yet to see anything clear cut now. I think in the opening quarter of an hour, well, almost 25 minutes now.
Well, Harmer just opening up her legs. Connolly Brain wanted to play the overlap. And there's Olivia Johnson doing some defensive work.
You feel like Brighton are handling this senior opposition well. They're defending as a unit, and also when they're getting bodies forward, they're really testing this Lewes back line, just unable to make anything properly.
That might change now. Bit of time and space for Harvey. Looked up, thought she was going to play a ball into the box, instead played it down the line, and for once Connolly Brain couldn't keep possession for her side. Well, there's Olivia Johnson doing brilliantly against 4 defenders, and she wanted the free kick, and Imogen Gates was right on top of that, as were we. No free kick given.
Well, Brighton fans very frustrated at the referee's decision to not blow for a foul. I mean, it's great work from Olivia Johnson. 3 Rooks players around her, and she still managed to get the better of them.
That's a nice flick on, and there could be a chance here on the break. We mentioned about the speed earlier, but there is the captain, Hannah Godfrey, coming across to do her job.
Using her footballing intelligence there to just not sprint in, but instead she understood the pressure, read the situation really well.
So an early change is going to see Katie Gilligan go off for Leah Lane. So maybe there was an injury there, or maybe just the pace over on that right-hand side from Heron was enough to force the change.
It's roll-on, roll-off substitutions.
So maybe just a bit of a breather.
Just a nice breather.
And Leah Lane comes onto the fray. What can you tell us about Lane?
I think Leah Lane's a really tricky player. She knows how to stand her ground down the flank. I think she also just has a really good bond with these Lewes players as well, like they all do. But Leah Lane, I know, is someone that a lot of the players are favourable of. He's a popular figure around the dripping pan.
That's lovely from Carpenter to hold off Gate and then plays the ball through. The foot race is on. The keeper's come a long way and then gets absolutely clattered. That should have been a free kick, but the referee allowed play to continue, and Lewes were unable to capitalise with the keeper momentarily out of her goal and on the floor. Here's House.
I think what bringing on Leah Lane also does have...
Here is Lane. Speaking of her...
Adds a bit of aerial ability, although she is out on that far side. So perhaps she wasn't going to be able to use that aerial ability in that position. But certainly someone to just...
Proctor just about doing enough to hold off Hall. Fade forward again. Connolly Brain looks to flick it into the middle. On that occasion, no one in a red shirt there to capitalise. Carpenter gets it over the head of Gay and then trying to battle her way through. Free kick given on that occasion, and there were some moans around the crowd feeling that one may have been a bit soft.
Well, I'll tell you who's going to be happy. Lily Murray, the goalkeeper, now that the sun has gone down. Lewes unable to actually test her so far. Neither goalkeeper's being tested as of yet. So I'm sure she'll be relieved that nothing came her way whilst the sun was glaring in her vision.
Johnson always caught well after the ball had gone there. That's going to be a free kick. Right down there. Johnson's received a bit of rough treatment. That could be the game's first card for Sarah Harvey. there was laying down a marker, and there's missing the train. And I think the train had long gone past the station when Sarah Harvey slid in there. But once again, Olivia Johnson proving a threat on this near side. She's getting more and more involved in this game. And Brighton, more importantly, have a free kick in a really promising position. Now look to be testing Emily Moore in that Lewes net. Lewes have got everybody back for this set piece.
Of course, the train didn't leave the station on time, which is just like Southern Rail.
I'm going to leave that comment there.
Fitting for Sussex.
This ball's whipped in towards the near post, headed away by the captain, Hannah Godfrey. Goalmouth keeping it alive. Crosses blocked behind for a Brighton corner.
Shout out to all our Southern Rail listeners.
We are the midway point of the first half. Brighton Hove Albion 0, Lewes 0. The Sussex Women's Challenge Cup final. Corner to Brighton. 5 players lurking around the edge of the 6-yard box. It's a high floating one. The keeper grabs it at the second attempt. That was a nervy moment.
Never in doubt, Emily Moore. Terrific goalkeeper.
I mean, you say that, but the facial expression that you pulled gave me something different there. Heart in the mouth moment, just a little bit.
It
for
was,
Lewes.
and I'm sure for all Lewes fans watching, of course.
As the ball is back with Murray at the other end. Howes again up the other end of the pitch. She was on her own goal line a moment ago. She is everywhere. And she's onside here. Oh, the flag has gone up, and Carpenter, it's not going to count. The flag was up a long, long time ago. Supporters around us didn't see.
Lewes fans think they've scored. That's sad to look to my left and see the Lewes fans crestfallen.
Brighton wanted to get on with the game quickly. They weren't allowed to, but yeah, you just wondered whether Howes had got back into an onside position, but straight away Olga Siewkiewicz put her flag up.
Perhaps that's something for Sussex FA to get, semi-automated offsides.
I'll have a chat with the chairman when I see him next week at the Transport Senior Cup final, and see if VAR will be introduced in next year's competitions. I'm hearing automated, they're going big time. Meanwhile, Lewes defending well, and once again Sarah Harvey has been really calm and composed. Whenever the ball's come over her way, she's just used her body well, eased normally Clarabella Hall out the way, got her foot on the ball.
Forms a really good centre-back partnership duo with Godfrey.
Lovely footwork initially from Milner, and almost open up there for Martin. That's a brilliant tackle coming in from the blind side.
From Harvey again, superb defending from Lewis's number 16. The commitment she shows for Nat Lawrence and the rest of our players is so commendable.
Brighton starting to ramp the pressure. It's a short corner this time. Looking to work a bit of magic as it's crossed towards the edge of the 6-yard box. Easily dealt with and headed away by Proctor. Danger not over yet though. It's come off the chest of Milner. Somehow works its way through to Hall. Again, it always appears to be a Lewes player at the right place at the right time. And as long as that's the case, Nat Lawrence will be happy in that Lewes dugout. And we've got some more defending to do as Pegram gets the low cross in. Keeper comes, doesn't get there, and it's just past the near post. Clarabella Hall just nipping in. The keeper thought she had longer than she did. And another nervy moment for the Lewes backline.
Emily Moore will be very relieved with that there. It felt like she would have come out of her line.
To be fair to her, she had the angle covered, so had it been on target, I reckon she might well have got a foot on it, but just the danger Brighton possess. It's Howes does brilliantly to initially hold off Emily Gay. She doesn't get the decision. And Brighton look to switch it out to the right-hand side. Milner giving chase. That's out of play, and Brandt will happily see to it. So the referee just took a little tumble there off camera. Back on her feet.
I'm really impressed with the defensive work from Lewis's back line. I think more had that shaky moment, and then even so when she came off her line to try and tackle or get a glove to the ball from the number 41 Clarabella Hall. It felt like she could have had an open net to tap home an effort into.
It will go down as probably the game's first big chance.
See Howe's now popping up on this left-hand side since the introduction of Leah Lane, albeit she's
nice from
still
Lane.
over on that far side as well. See the determination shown from the most recent Lewes substitute.
Well, Lewes have forced a corner. Down on that far side, it's just going to relieve a bit of that pressure Brighton was starting to build as we come into the last 12 and a half minutes or so of this first half. Still goalless at Culver Road. In the Sussex Women's Challenge Cup final, that's a free kick. And Lewis's set pieces on Sunday were certainly something that they looked like they'd been working on in training, and they succeeded on a few occasions. Maybe this is their best route to goal.
Well, they had a good set piece earlier on in this game where Carpenter just tried to float it in with a nice curling delivery from this near side. Of course, this one's got a bit more of an angle to work with. Fairly congested outside that 6-yard area. But you've got Schreimeyer, who may fancy one from distance if she was to find the ball at her feet in moments.
And it is turned straight towards goal, and it was cleared away. Keeper comes, doesn't get there again.
All those fouls are going in. Well, the goalkeeper seems to be having a lot of pressure around her when she's got the ball in her person. But I think that just shows the Lewes press when they see a chance to really close in on this Brighton backline. They have so many runners going towards them with Howes and Carpenter.
And sorry, I was going to say they haven't been shy in pressing either. They've committed bodies forward, and they've not really as yet been caught out. And Brighton aren't shy in leaving players forward. There's always 4 up top for them whenever they have possession. So if the Lewes press is played through, there is that opportunity, but so far so good.
So far the midfield of Lewes cutting down those potential opportunities and balls forward from a Brighton perspective.
And Howes winning the free kick right on the edge, and this is an opportunity to shoot through right in the central position. Who do you fancy here?
I was going to say Howes.
Carpenter.
I also feel like Maddie Brandt may fancy it as well.
Well, Brandt's now gone over to the ball, yeah.
Schreimeyer.
Well, at the moment, Schreimeyer's nowhere near it. It's Carpenter and Brandt who are standing in deep discussion. And how would they have liked this free kick when the sun was in that high position and the goalkeeper's lie?
I'm sure Lily Murray would have been the complete opposite in emotion, but what a time this would be to score when it isn't there. Of course, typical cliche that, but in front of all those Lewes fans behind this goal. There we go, absolutely mental if this was to find the back of the net.
The whistle blows.
A wall of 5 to try and prevent this from heading towards the goal.
It's a low strike from Carpenter. And Lily Murray got behind it, got down well. First effort, and then she gives it away. Here's Connolly Brain, but just ran into traffic.
She's been isolated on a couple of occasions down this right-hand side. I suppose her job is to win the ball up high, but when she does, it doesn't feel like there's many red shirts around her to try and provide an option for her, which has then seen her just force it forward.
Just caught ball watching there momentarily. And here goes Hall. She's got support with Olivia Johnson. Johnson on her right foot looking to test that Lewes back line. Ulmer takes over. And once again, stout defending from Sarah Harvey.
So far been, I think, the player of the match for Lewes this evening.
Come on, Brighton!
The definition of a tough cookie.
Satinero will throw this ball in. Not much movement for her. And easy to defend in the end for Connolly Brain. They'll go again.
It does seem a bit static at the moment, doesn't it, Dean?
Just for a moment, this is the first real quiet period in the grounds. It's been a really good atmosphere here. They've been entertained with some good football. Now I'd like to see maybe some Goalmouth action as Lewes clear it away, but only as far as Pegram.
It was a hit and hope effort there from Jess Pegram. Oh, just trying to assess who she's got available. Tries to play it central. I think that was
there was no one in the Lewes shirt anywhere near that ball forward. That's a better ball. Lane, brilliant from her to get around the challenge and settles for the throw, which is taken quickly towards Proctor. Infield for Harvey. That's a rare loose one from Shramea.
I think perhaps as we come into the closing stages of this first half, maybe both sides are happy to maybe
loose
go
from the goalkeeper.
Am I
Wrong?
wrong?
Is that? Oh! Brilliant from the captain, Jess Pegram, to deny a certain goal for Lewes.
It's like a goal's just been scored in here. Just as we were saying, it was a quiet moment. It's absolutely erupted from those supporting the team in blue and white. My word, you felt the net was just going to ripple with that lofted effort from Hove. She just sunk to the floor after it, completely flabbergasted that she didn't find the back of the net.
Can they make it pay from this corner? It's high and hanging, but it's just gone over everybody. And it's going to be a goal kick.
Harvey
what
thought
a
it was
moment.
going to be a corner, and she's frustrated at the assistant referee on this near side.
The goalkeeper just completely fluffed the lines, and Howes did the only thing she could. She just tried to chip it over the goalkeeper, but that is elite footballing from Jess Pegram to get back on the line, to clear it away.
That's so far the moment of the match.
Is this the change here for Lewes? Olivia Carpenter being replaced by Fatuga Dada for the last 5 minutes of this first half.
Very energetic substitution that. Of course, Olivia Carpenter, that's not to belittle her energy that she provides this Lewes side, but Fatuga Dada, she will not stop running either. And perhaps that's just resting Carpenter, as I'm sure she'll be coming on in the second half. I think those roll-on, roll-off substitutions allow, of course, the managers to maybe savour their star players, especially in the later stages of a half like now. I suppose both sides will have the mentality of just going in at 0-0 will be good enough, but just as I said that, Howes looked like she was about to open the scoring, so maybe I should stop with the ideas of what both sides are wanting to do.
Well, keep it going if it's going to encourage some Goalmouth action.
Actually, Dean, you hit the nail on the head there. Very true.
And Lewes fans now just taunting the Brighton goalkeeper, hoping to force her into another mistake. And that's excellent play up top, winning the ball back from Proctor.
That's just Layla Proctor through and through right there.
There's Lane.
Not only did she win the ball back, but she's able to just keep it in safe possession.
Well, Leah Lane giving the ball away there. I was going to say about her, and there's another player on the Lewes bench in Glass Olivia, who are players that I've commentated on over the years for Lewes, their development teams that have been successful at pretty much every age group, from under 12s all the way up, or probably even younger. But she's certainly someone that has lit up cup finals before, and now she hopes to do it on the senior stage, as do the majority of these Lewes women. But that's a loose pass, and here's a chance for Evie Milner. Milner on her right foot, just looking for options, and she's got support, and there's a strike that's just wayward of that near post. Heron on the right hand side, just couldn't keep her effort down.
It opened up so well for Eliana Martin. You really felt she found the back of the net. Oh no, she found the target.
It's probably the first
hard
real
for Emily
time.
Moore there.
The first real time that Lewes defence has been stretched in such a way. There was real space opened up by Evie Milner. She got the support.
Martin was just trying to hold her run as well.
Lane just sold the defender there, who nipped in, but it's recovered really, really well. Eliana Martin. Played forward by Pegram. Brandt with the interception. Both sides just exchanging possession momentarily.
Come on, Brighton! Come on, Brighton!
Late chance of Brighton around the ground.
And there's the ball through for Howes, who's kept herself on side. Here's a chance for Lewes. Howes, low strike. It's comfortably dealt with again by Lily Murray. You just wonder if Howes is tiring slightly towards the end of this first half, because she just seemed to take that effort a little bit earlier than she maybe need to. She had the time to bring it forwards further if she wanted to.
The goalkeeper, Lily Murray, will be satisfied with that. She didn't parry it either, so it was a strong effort.
But Howes breaking that back line. It's Proctor. Almost got there. She might be here. In fact, sorry, it was Sarah Harvey. That was Lewes Roach. I'll go through the whole list. Of Lewes players. Sorry, Lewes Roach.
Don't worry, Dean. That's why I'm here.
Indeed.
But I felt Roach, yeah, you could see the frustration. You said about how Howes actually had more time with the strike. In fact, I felt she still had a couple of the Brighton players really honing in on her. But as for Roach there, I think she just snatched at it and then saw the chance go begging. If she kept it under her spell, she would have been able to conjure up a far greater opportunity than the one we just saw.
And once again, Brighton playing it for the back, and Lewes have got them rattled, and they're forcing all kinds of errors as we're into the last 90 seconds of this first half, which has been captivating.
Certainly, you're just starting to see the quality of Lewes now really creep in these final moments of this first half. They started the first half bright, then had a period of seeing Brighton maybe dominate the ball in the attacking areas. Now Lewes have a grip on this game, but they want to make it firmer now. Following this throw from Harvey, she's just having some words with Connolly Brame about this tactic, whether they'll just keep it safe and throw it short. There's no options in the box apart from Leah Lane, but I don't think a throw will reach her.
It's going to be headed straight back to where it came from. So whatever tactics they were discussing didn't quite come off on this occasion. But Fatuga Dada's in plenty of movement, and there she is getting the ball. That's going to be a corner. And a late corner and a late chance for Lewes to break the deadlock. 2 added minutes to be played at the end of the first 45. And you always say any time to score is the perfect time to score, but this really would.
Really changed the dynamic of the first team.
His house was a near post, and
time break.
Lily Murray watched it all the way.
Come on, Brighton!
Pegram clips one up the line. Milner holding on to the ball well, looking for support, or is she going to do it herself? Ball comes infield, but Lewes win it back, and they've won a free kick in another really promising position. A late flurry of set pieces around the Brighton box to end the half of the Rockets.
Proctor again, who knew what she was doing, won that foul nicely. She drew it in well too, so...
And the first yellow card, in fact, has been given. And it looks like...
Milner.
Is it Milner who was...
Pegram.
Pegram, yeah, I thought it was the skipper. It's been shown the first yellow card. So the time running out at the end of this first half. There's, again, a little bit of a hush, which is almost like the moments that led up to that Howes effort that was cleared off the line. Is this the moment for Lewes? Into the box from Howes. Headed away at the edge of the area. Lewes will look to put the ball back in the box with Lane, but she's had to play it back, and that's a loose blind pass, and it could be Brighton's turn to attack with Milner. Milner slots it through the middle, and it's maybe the wrong option to Heron.
Connolly Brame did so well to get in front of her player there, Heron.
And maybe that's where the youth and inexperience comes into play. There's 3 blue and white shirts in and around the box. It was just the wrong option from Evie Milner. And this will surely be the last action of the first half here at Culver Road. Brighton Hove Albion 0, Lewes 0.
just see that's the threat that Brighton pose. Lewes can have these chances getting into their own attacking areas, but Brighton can certainly hit them on the transition, especially with the options they've got. It's all about just making sure they choose the right option, which sounds incredibly straightforward, but in the ongoing of the game,
and there is the half-time whistle from Imogen Gates. A pulsating, a captivating cup final so far that is tight, tense and evenly poised. The half-time scores, Brighton Hove Albion 0, Lewes 0, but boy oh boy were Lewes close to breaking the deadlock when their Duracell buddy Paula Howes nipped in on a mistake from Lily Murray, looked up, but there was the captain Jess Pegram to clear it off the line. That is the closest either side have come to breaking the deadlock. What will happen in the second half? We'll tune in to find out with me, Dean Kilford, alongside Ollie Aldis, sorry, a little nudge in the ribs. We'll see you very, very shortly. Go and grab a cup of tea or something stronger if you fancy. The half-time score here at Culver Road, Brighton Hove Albion 0, Lewes 0. Welcome back to Culver Road with a half-time score in the Sussex Women's Challenge Cup final. Is Brighton Hove Albion 0, Lewes 0. I'm Dean Kilford, alongside me, Ollie Aldis. Ollie, an exciting game just around the goalmouth. Chances have been few and far between. Who do you think's had the advantage in that first half?
It's a very good question. I think it's gone in spells, albeit short spells. I wouldn't say there's been an out-and-out period of time in that first half where one side completely dominated it. I did feel like Lewes had the better of the ball in an advanced area in the first part of the first half and the last part. Brighton have looked promising going forward as they're coming out now. Their front line is really, really deadly. Well, to the extent where they're actually getting players in good positions, but so far Emily Moore hasn't been tested. I suppose on the other hand, Lily Murray, who looks to be coming off as substitute goalkeeper Marshall Miranda, she's been tested a couple of times. So if we're looking at actual chances created that have tested the opposing goalkeeper, then it's Lewes who have won that first half in a way. But I still feel it's all to play for. It'll be interesting seeing the second half who may tire before. Could it be perhaps a senior side? We say senior, but the majority of these players are below 22, 23, so it's not like they're senior anyway. But you would say that they've actually got the upper hand on this Brighton side, given the fact that they are slightly older, they're still young though, and they play against senior opposition week in, week out.
Well, you can hear the chants from the Lewes fans for the substitutes making their way back to the bench, but it does look like there's a change in goal for Brighton. Is that Lily Murray did make a few mistakes in that first half? Do you think that's a result of that, or do you think this was always a plan to make sure that everybody got equal minutes?
I would like to think it's just to make sure it's fair and you're giving everyone an equal amount of minutes, especially at this age. Of course, this final is going to go down for everyone on this pitch, but you would still like to give those people that could be on the bench, like a substitute goalkeeper, their minutes. And I wonder if the coach, Danny Bowman, maybe thought, well, I'll toss a coin. One of you can have the first half, the other can have the second, because I feel that'd be the fairest. I mean, there are legs to the argument that the goalkeeper Lily Murray did make a couple of mistakes, and that could be the reason she came off. But I think that'd be quite harsh given the fact that they didn't really lead to goals. But I suppose it's a final; they need to win. This isn't some pre-season friendly, so quite a long-winded answer.
I like it. I'll let you into a lot of detail, and it looks like we're going to get a whole host of changes. We'll try and keep up with the board as they are announced for you. Obviously, there was that nearly moment for Howes, lobbed the keeper. Brilliant defending from Jess Pegram. But at the other end, we sort of neglected to mention at the end of that first half, there was a big chance for Clarabella Hall, where she just nipped in ahead of Emily Moore and just poked it towards the side netting. On seeing it back, it was actually a better chance than in real time it actually looked, and that might go down as a big opportunity missed for Brighton Hove Albion.
Well, I think Emily Moore will be happy of that. I said how she's an astute goalkeeper at this level, but she did get lucky there because I think she came off her line a bit too soon and perhaps committed herself sooner than she would have wanted, which allowed that opportunity. So it's a classic cliche, but I'm going to have to use it. It's still all to play for. It's still wide open. I think this second half, however, is going to have a few twists and turns compared to that first half. They've surely got the nerves out of the way now, these players. They're in the game. They're warmed up now properly. So it's
as they warm up, the sun actually is coming down. It's getting a bit cooler here at Culver, and maybe that's going to make it a bit easier for this, because it was hot in the ground before, you know.
It was. I think the days of wearing a hoodie and jeans are behind us, Dean, or I hope so at least.
Indeed, in the midst of a pre-summer heat wave, we're ready for it to hot up on the pitch, and hopefully that second half will produce some of that heat.
Leah Lane still staying on, of course. She came on for Olivia Carpenter in that first half. Fatuga Dada also came on in that first half, but she is not present right now.
No, they've just switched back again, so Carpenter's back on for the start of this second half, and Fatuga Dada back on the bench. So Lewes, whereas Brighton lined up with everyone across the face of the pitch, this one might well be a bit more obvious. A long raking ball out to the right-hand side looks to be on the cards, but maybe they'll play us the same way that Brighton did in the first half. Who knows? Imogen Gates is checking the right amount of players who are on the pitch, and we'll get us underway officially for the start of this second half.
This is big now.
That low delivery, that was a bouncing one.
Really big for both teams now to try and get a grip hold on this game.
And usually Brighton looking to attack down on that far side. Here is Atenare looking to check back on the right foot. He's got support. That's a lovely bit of footwork as Brighton just try and work the angle for a cross. Just guilty of overplaying it, and they've done that on a couple of occasions when they've got near in and around the box. But that's a beautiful little turn as instantly Lewes looked to response, and once again Howe's at the heart of it.
That final ball just led her down there, Howe. She did all the hard work, just needed to play a less firm pass in towards Roche. Of course, Roche is a brilliant player, but she's not going to be the player in the team to really sprint and manage to gain yards on this opposition. So just a little bit of a better pass there from Howe's could have really set things open for Roche.
Flick round the corner there from Carpenter didn't quite come off, but Lewes looking to get the ball up to her earlier in this second half and looking to maybe play off her a bit more than they did in the first half, where a lot of the good play came over, or on the near side as it was in the first half, through Connolly Brain. She was often an outlet. As this second half,
Like to get up forward as well in that first half period. Of course, usually just right back, but it's been deployed sometimes as a sort of win back in times, depending on whether Lewes are in possession or not.
it's just a bit of scrappy to start this second half. Just shaking off the cobwebs of that half-time break. There's plenty of space out on this near side for Milner if they can work the ball there. Instead it's come infield, and that's really good. Strong play initially, and Milner, that's the challenge. Brighton want the decision, it's not gone their way. Hannah Jones, another player who I've commentated on over the years through the youth set up here in Sussex. It shows there is a pathway for these players.
And I think this game encapsulates that pathway, especially for the women in football, for the girls aiming to play football in their later life.
It's a risky moment there as Emily Moore didn't know whether to stick or twist, and it almost opened up for Olivia Johnson, who's taken a much more central role to start this second half, alongside Rihanna Fowler, who has also come on at half time.
The yellow area in front of the main stand is a no standing area. Thank you.
So throwing back to Pegram. Takes a touch to try and orchestrate a bit of traffic, and that's a bit of skill to work it down on the outside for Heron. And Brandt's just about using her body enough to hold off the challenge, but concede
very
the
well
corner.
there, Maddie Brandt.
Corner's taken quickly. Here's Milner. Brighton over-egging that corner, and eventually losing out on the ball. Trying to win it back, but Lane does well to sort of bully her way up the line. And there's a ball over the top for Carpenter to chase. Defending for Atenare to do. Carpenter just trying to make it difficult. Atenare using her body to shield it. Balmer gets it back to the goalkeeper, and it's the first touch, and it's a nervy pass from Marshall Miranda.
It must be hard for a goalkeeper coming on as a substitute, especially in a game of this calibre, where they haven't really had.
Brandt putting her body on the line to win it back for Lewes. Certainly can see the commitment on display for both sets of players as Howes just loses out in a foot race with Martin. Tenere, the forward pass, gets it back from Hannah Jones. Milner, the option on this near side. Milner just waited for the ball, and Brandt nipped in, couldn't keep it in play.
Still great pressure shown there from Brandt, albeit Brighton still came away with a throw-in. Just that commitment to showing her opposition who's there. Not giving them any time to try and gain yards on her side, and the ball then awkwardly rebounding off that metal fence straight into the fans to our right.
Thankfully above the heads. It could have been an incident in the crowd at the start of this second half.
Could have been heading practice for some of them.
Heron just trying to flick it through, intercepted by Roach.
Nice idea from Roche. She just tried the deft touch to pass it forward.
Brighton still happy to play out from the back and invite that Lewes pressure. Jones across to this near side. Second half yet to really get going.
You see Layla Proctor sat in front of the defence whilst Brighton tried to attack.
Ball was allowed to bounce, and there's the strength of Johnson, who eventually was outnumbered. Lane had to deal with that awkward pass, and no nonsense from Godfrey.
Come on, Brighton, let's look after it!
Schreimeyer calm and composed in the middle, and there she is on the ball again.
Brighton fans to our right urging their team to just look after the ball, perhaps be a bit more patient when they have it in their grasp.
And now it's Brighton who are looking to press, and just forcing the mistake from Brandt to force it up the line.
Seen that a couple of times on both flanks for Lewes, where they've had the ball from a midway position in their own half and perhaps just forced it up the field a bit too soon, where there's no real runners in front of them, no one to actually run onto the ball forward. I think perhaps just a little bit more patient and a bit more understanding of when to play the pass wouldn't go amiss for this side, because they're getting the ball in good areas when they're in a defensive shape, trying to get the ball forward, but just need the runners up top.
That's a brilliant touch.
A bit more cohesion.
And she's done really well to turn that ball into a throw-in down by the corner flag. It's a brilliant first-time touch from her to take it down the line. Better than that, she's also won the throw-in. Once again, there's a real lack of movement as this throw-in is launched into the box. Appeals for handball from the Brighton fans. It's they who have possession. The players rather than the fans, I should say.
Once again, Sarah Harvey getting stuck in, one of the performances of the first half.
Here goes Joan. It's Fowler. Fowler into the area, goes down. Referee says no straight away. She was right up with play. Immediately waved it away.
That has created some ruckus around us here, Dean.
It has done.
This is where the benefit of the replay for those watching at home are able to look back and conclude.
We'll be able to see it slightly behind you guys and see if there was indeed a push in the back. Meanwhile, Brighton will attack with Milner. He's gone in behind Lane. Milner just hesitating. She's got support in the shape of Tara Heron.
There's a lot of room for Brighton down this right-hand side. Of course, a lot of the Lewes players prioritising the penalty area.
Lovely running behind. Cross is deflected away at the near post by Maddie Brandt. That's a good run from Evie Milner.
It's also a very good spell for Brighton too. This is a time where they would really want to try and get a goal now whilst they're on top. This has been their best spell of the game. And Lewes just need to hold in here. Who's going a goal down will really spark momentum into this Brighton side.
Deep delivery towards the edge of the area. It's helped towards the penalty spot. Lewes can't clear. It's Pegram who's trying to force something. She's gone down. It's Fowler. Lewes have got plenty of bodies around the ball. Fowler still going.
Roche feels there was a foul there as she looked to the referee.
Fowler's done really well to keep possession for Brighton. And there's a lovely ball in behind. And once again, Milner can cut it back. And there's no one in a blue and white shirt there. Lewes dangerous
on the transition. Just had to suffer a little bit here, Lewes, but that's what happens in cup finals. That's what happens in football matches.
Lane has got a bit of space on this near side. Ball's clipped through to her. She wanted it more into the channel. A moment had gone before Roche could get it to her. Milne's getting more involved in this game in this second half. Schreimeyer. Now Godfrey. Looking for that long ball over the top. Howes had come inside and just vacated the space. But you know Connolly Brame's going to give it a go and try and get on the end of it. She's unable to on this occasion, and Brighton can bring it forward once more. Still goalless. 10 minutes into the second half of this Challenge Cup final. Two pioneers of women's football in Sussex, Brighton, Hove, Albion and Lewes.
I was actually just thinking, Dean, these are the two best sides in Sussex, full stop. In terms of the actual clubs, Brighton, of course, and Lewes. We don't just say they're the pioneers, but they genuinely, factually are, which is why this is such a great advert for Sussex football.
Jones just nipping in there for Brighton. It almost looked like it was going to open up, as it would have been a 4-on-4 chance had Jones be able to get it up to Johnson. It's just maybe a bit of concern in the middle of the park
For Layla Proctor. I think she was just down with her hands on her knees. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised anyway. I don't blame her. The fact is, she's been running around and covering so much ground in that midfield that she surely must be puffing. I know I would be after 10 minutes, let alone 55.
Just trying to nip it on this near side. Brandt giving no inch. It's a really nice battle down here between those two. Brandt up the line. There was a slip there. It just opened up momentarily for Carpenter.
Been impressed with Brighton's defence really in the duration of this game. Of course, they're keeping Lewes quiet.
From Jones. Really... Two Brighton players over on the left-hand side, but yeah, as you say, the Lewes defence there again, just
having to scurry it away. But this is obviously a period of the game which they're just going to want to try and see out. But the way to, I suppose, the antidote for this now for Lewes would just be maybe just play a bit patient. Just try and keep the ball. Doesn't have to be too progressive. Just keep the ball. Take the sting out of Brighton's momentum.
It's a lovely switch clearly got at the moment. The right-hand side. Here's Connolly Brame. Can she deliver a quality ball into the box? The attack's going to be kept alive. Here's Lane with a bit of time and space to pick out a pass. It's a low ball into the box. It's a nice little 1-2. Lewes worked this well. Can they work the shot for Howes? Just undercooked at the end. But that was better from Lewes in this second half. It's Carpenter looking to flick it onto Roche. Roche just falling. Couldn't quite get in.
Two chances for Roche to hold it up nicely and lay off her players, but I think she'll be disappointed with the way she was able to hold it up on both occasions. A player who's got brilliant passing ability.
Milner's just pulled inside and said the ball's gone long for Jones to chase. Keeper's come out, has to get there, and does. Just an unfortunate slip from Roche. Unable to set up. Howes at the other end. An untimely slip as Jones lays it back. Lovely footwork from Heron. Comes inside.
Atmosphere going through another peak right now. I think both sets of fans have now got a feeling that they can go and score, especially after that positive play from the Rooks in their final third just moments ago.
Johnson just causing a bit of mischief down there. And it's going to be a throw-in rather than a free kick, but it's Brandt this time who's stayed down. He's not going to need treatment.
Well, of course, the other defender on the bench this evening is Izzy Glass-Oliver.
Centre-back by trade. But probably I wouldn't put it past her. Well, just finally got to see a replay of the incident And from our vantage point, it looked like Lois Roach had slipped, but actually, Stonewall penalty.
Didn't really feel like there was any objection from what I remember from the Lewes players.
Or indeed from Roach, who was the player that was felled. Meanwhile, Milner looks to work the angle for a cross and wins another Brighton corner, which is once again taken quickly. Here's Heron. Low delivery, too close to the keeper, but instead Lewes try and play it out, and they play themselves into trouble. Milner across and then cleared away from Godfrey.
Brighton have really sharpened up.
Howes giving chase. Good covering at the back from Matanero. Matanero looks to slide one through for Johnson. And for the first time, a touch of Ada. Howes, once again, the intended target, and once again causing a nuisance for that Brighton defence. It hasn't quite clicked in the second half for Lewes, apart from that one move a few moments ago. Still goalless. As Marshall Miranda has time on the ball, yet to be tested. Johnson has made a run just off the back of the centre-backs, but she's just checked that run now. And here she is on the ball. Switch of pace this near side. There's Brighton players picking up the ball everywhere, and that's a forced ball through from Pegham. Once again, Evie Milner just coming in from the far side, looking to get in behind the full-back.
It's going to be a substitution now for Lewes. Of course, coming off is going to be Lucy Connolly-Brame, and she's replaced by... They just put 21 on the board.
Yeah, Gilligan's coming back on.
Gilligan's coming back on, of course.
And then Gilligan's coming onto the left, and Lane is going over to the right-hand side. So Gilligan and Evie Milner will resume battle on this left-hand side as they started the game. And the other end, Howes is looking to attack on the Lewes right-hand side. Howes with a cross-field ball, and there's Gilligan! Takes it down and just couldn't quite bring it into her stride. She's just come back onto the pitch.
And that's the Paula Howes we saw in the first half, wasn't it, Dean? Picking out those balls from the flank. She floated it in with a lot of power. It was going to take some asking for Gilligan to take it down. Unfortunately, she just didn't have the ability to take it in her stride.
It's another nearly moment for Lewes. Brandt's just been asked to take a few steps back.
Hannah Godfrey just organising her team in front of her.
Gilligan gives chase, and it's on high and hanging into the middle of the park. Good header from Proctor. Howes battling for it in the middle with Hall. Cleared away up to Johnson. First time ball out to Fowler. Milner's once again lurking on this near side. If Fowler can pick up her head, and she can. And there is Milner. First touch takes her inside. Johnson just behind her. Really good defending, good covering.
Immense from Sarah Harvey once again. She's just not afraid to stick in her foot. She is an exact centre-back that you would want. Someone who's fearless, plays with aggression, clean in her tackling. She's been so impressive, and I feel she's grown into her role as centre-half since signing for the Rooks last summer.
She might have some more defending to do here as Brighton have worked it down in the channel. Cut back onto the edge of the area, and a shot from Jones is high and wide.
Well, Emily Moore will welcome that all day long. Encouraged, like you said, Dean, to shoot from fans around the ground. Perhaps that might have got into her head, but space did open up in front of her, so you can understand why she fancied one from that range.
Well, just for the first time, we're seeing a bit of a gap forming between that Lewes front three and then the midfield three in the defence. There's a bit of space there which Brighton are starting to exploit. Maybe tiredness is proving a factor. As Milner picks up that loose pass from Emily Moore. Can she deliver a good ball into the box? It's allowed to bounce all the way through. Picks up on the edge from Balmer. Fowler wins it back for Brighton momentarily. And now Howes can lead a break for Lewes, who's a bit isolated at the minute. Tried to force one through, and Jones can...
I mean, right now, Brighton's structure is suffocating Lewes.
Jones with a nice little touch. There's 2 up in the box.
They're managing to hold their own well. Of course, examples like that from Lane where they're just clearing it away, but Nat Lawrence would have liked a little bit more control shown in this second half. Lewes will just need to hope that this suffering period doesn't turn into the narrative of this second half.
Cross, just too much on it. Jones, once again, the target in the box.
You mentioned, Dean, about how there seems to be a lot of space in the Lewes midfield, and I noticed that as well when you see Layla Proctor very isolated. She's just sat in front of the back four, but it doesn't feel like she's got that cohesive unit as close to her as she did in that first half, which could be a reason as to why Lewes are losing this midfield battle.
Well, she won the ball there and once again couldn't find a teammate, but Sky Mayer is also really deep when Lewes have the ball just in front of the back four. It's almost they're on top of each other.
Yeah.
Whereas in the first half there was a lot more options to play that ball. There may be a chance on the far side for Lane. Coming across to cover is Emily Gay for Brighton, who have switched formation. And maybe it's a 3-5-2 they're playing in the second half, which maybe that's what's causing the problems in the middle of the park. There's an extra player in there as Lewes look to work the line.
Leah Lane's impressed since she came on midway in that first half. You know what you're going to get with her, just a sturdy individual who doesn't give up. Does create an option down that right-hand side, but just hasn't really been able to pull off anything spectacular from that flank.
We're into the last quarter at Culver Road of the Challenge Cup final. Still goalless between Brighton Hove Albion and Lewes. Second half, it's been largely dominated by the team in blue and white.
Feels like Brighton are in the ascendancy. However, Lewes still have the players to hurt Brighton.
It's Carpenter's
one of them being down right now.
And there's a free kick, and there you hear the Lewes crowds behind that goal just springing into a bit of voice.
Well, we haven't looked to our left that much, Dean, in this second half. But what a moment this could be for those fans behind the Brighton goal.
And the Lewes goal. It only takes one moment. And there are 5 red and black shirts line up right on the edge of the 18. The ball is chipped in towards the 6-yard box. Header comes in and it's over the top. That goes down as a big, big chance.
Best chance of the second half there for Lewes. Obviously Godfrey would have wanted to try and keep that down. Came off the top of her head. Instead, when the ball came in, we just needed to keep it down and maybe hit it with the front part.
But she was in space. That goes down as a big, big chance.
It does.
We get a little break in play. There's going to be a flurry of substitutions as well. Lane is about to make way.
Well, there's going to be a bit of a refresh here for Lewes, and you can understand why. Perhaps this is the chance now for these players coming on in black and red to really show Nat Lawrence and the Lewes faithful that they can turn this game around. I suppose what's one thing that they'll be very happy about is the fact that when they have suffered, when Brighton have brought the game to them in this second half, that they have managed to keep it goalless. Saying that, Brighton did get the ball in good areas, but Emily Moore still hasn't really been tested in that goal. So perhaps Lewes are relieved that Brighton haven't really possessed that attacking nous to really cause problems for Emily Moore.
There's still an injury concern here for Brighton. Of course, the last thing anyone wants in any cup final is for there to be an injury, and it's Jeff Pegram who's down, the captain, who...
It's important in that first half when Lewes had their opportunity. She was there to command her team and lead them into defending well as a unit.
She's back on her feet and we're able to continue. We've had a flurry of changes. The boards don't think reflected the number of players that have come onto the pitch, as that's missed by Proctor, and that could be a chance for Olivia Johnson to run at the Lewes defence. Johnson still going, a little few step overs, just hesitated and waited a bit too much before getting her shot away. Plenty of space for Milner, looking to come inside. She's got support on the outside, but maybe she doesn't need it, as Milner going alone into the box and drives towards the near post.
Her eyes lit up there. That was a really, really good run from Milner, and one thing you can just see about the differences of these two sides is that Brighton do just have that technical ability that when the ball gets delivered to them, they're able to make decisions quickly, they're able to open up room in front of them, and that's one thing that I really can commend Brighton for this evening, and what they've showed to Lewes and what they can do when they're able to just spread the ball from left to right with quite an ease, Dean.
Indeed, Evie Milner growing into this game, always looking to come inside and almost causing a threat to Emily Moore's goal. But at the other end, here goes Howes. Keeper was a long way from goal. Howes wasn't aware, maybe should have gone for goal, but a chance is still beyond. The keeper doesn't get there! Brilliant defending once more. Brilliant defending, deny Lewes an opener.
My word. The moment of the game coming out of nowhere, and of course Paula Howes was in and amongst it, creating that opportunity as it just was sent across the penalty area. I felt it was just going to nestle in that top left corner, and I'm sure everyone watching did as well. And this is what Lewes can do.
Corner towards the back post. It's allowed to go a long way back into the mixer before being cleared away. Here's the pressure. Brighton looking to break here.
Excellent work there from Gilligan. Just couldn't pull off the pass over towards Harvey, who was playing in a Connolly Brain position.
It was Rihanna Fowler, the striker, who was back there with the crucial challenge to save Brighton's plushes. And now there she is trying to lead an attack. At the other end is Johnson, looked to spinning behind, and who's back there defending? Howes at the other end, covering
Paula Howes and
team.
Sarah Harvey have been really, really good tonight. Of course, Kayla Ginger has come on. The number 7 can play out wide, but also in midfield.
She looks like she's taking that attacking midfield role. As Brighton,
it's really come alive now. I mean, it's been alive all second half, but when you see Lewes creating those opportunities, it just injects that hope that Lewes may have been slightly worried that they could have lost in parts when Brighton were really having a go at them. You just breed confidence for the later stages of this game. Of course, under the 20-minute mark now.
There's a big chance at both ends into the last 13. Switch of play is cleared away. Proctor gets a toe on it. Brighton pick up possession. There's plenty of space for Fowler on that far side. She just showed too much of it, and Lewes have the ball back. And there is a touch for Ginger, who looks to work it out, but Gilliland was not up the pitch, and that's the tiredness starting to creep in. Lewes slightly deeper. If that had been the first half, I'd imagine Gilliland would have been up on that.
Of course, I do. Saying that though, it's quite a firm pass.
Jones down the line. Grant clears it away.
Come on, Brighton! Come on, Brighton! Come on, Brighton! Come on, Brighton! Come on, Brighton!
Milner just instructing the taker to go towards
Zatanero just couldn't quite control it. The ball over the top, and Carpenter is going to give chase, and Carpenter's going to get there ahead of gate. And Carpenter is through on goal. Carpenter, just a heavy touch off her knee. So many nearly moments for Lewes. It's Ginger. Lewes. Another second wins. Akinola battling through and defending well.
What an opportunity that was for Carpenter. What space she found herself in. She did so well to work it around her opponent.
Well, Emily Gay just being out-muscled, and they are two young players, so there's certainly no advantage in age between those two. It's a high hanging one. Cleared away, only as far as Scramea. Proctor gets the return. Nice touch from her. Here's Proctor. Slides it through towards Ginger, just on the wrong side.
So many near moments for Lewes.
Grant goes in, she had to
just
get
let
there.
them down.
And she nods it on and gets past Atenero and gets the cross in. Cleared away, and now it's Lewes who are on top.
Still here, the Lewes fans.
On this moment of dominance. Carpenter wanted to take it on herself, but the ref had already blown for a free kick, which in hindsight is
a good thing for
good
her.
thing.
I'm sure Carpenter will be happy. Perhaps it gave her a chance, though, to just test her shooting practice without any jeopardy. Another opportunity. It looks like it could be Howes. Of course, this is a draw. It does go straight to penalties. No extra time.
And we have
Should certainly increase the nerves here
just
around the ground.
left to find a winner. Howes steps up to take it. Carpenter's taken up a really intelligent position down there, and I wouldn't be surprised if Howes tries to slip her in. Howes with the signal. It is delivered towards the back post, headed away. Gillens trying to keep the attack alive on the edge of the area. Hayward goes down, no free kick. Shot comes in! Rebound! Off the line! How close were Lewes to taking the lead?
My word, Lewes FC.
That first effort.
Incredible efforts. And what a strike that was too. I don't know if the goalkeeper saved it, but the fact that it just pelted off the crossbar and fell to Kayla Ginger, who you felt was going to nod it home.
There's Carpenter. And there's three up here for Lewes. Ginger's in the middle. The offside flag is up, and the attack comes to nothing.
Wow.
But not once, but twice.
Offside?
Lewes hit the crossbar. The first was from Gilligan, and the rebound header coming in from Ginger, hitting the underside of the bar. It doesn't get much closer than that. Twice Lewes denied by the crossbar.
Well, one thing's for sure, they've come closer to goal than Brighton have. Brighton have had their organised patterns. They've threatened Lewes. But the chances Lewes have had certainly outweigh the ones Brighton have had.
There's a little clash off the ball there. Two players are just running into each other. But what a mad few moments. The first effort, first glance from our angle, thought it may have bounced under the bars. The official attendance of 595 is read out. And there's that warm round of applause. But that warm round of applause would have been a huge cheer from those Lewes fans in attendance had either of those efforts from either Gilligan or Ginger found their way into the back of the net.
Well, a last-minute chance here, Dean, for both sets of players to have a chat for the final remaining 10 minutes of the game. What a 10 minutes this could be. Of course, penalties loom Do they want to go for it and just try and win it in 90? I mean, maybe this is ridiculous to even suggest someone would want to hold out for a 0-0 and take it to penalty shootout. But this really does matter now. You feel like the way Lewes have managed to grow into this period of the second half, that they're the ones that could be going into this end bit with more confidence when they feel like the goal is that close.
Well,
because that was so close.
They've had to defend deep for most of this second half, in truth. And just in the last 5 minutes or so, they've come alive as an attacking threat. How much is left in the tank for these players? No one wants to see a cup final decided on penalties, but that's where we're heading. As it stands, neither side able to break the deadlock. Brighton Albion 0, Lewes 0. And once again, some more changes in the offing.
I think the only people that would want to see a final decided by a penalty shootout.
Sadists. That's the only people that want to see a final decided by penalties. I joke, but there's maybe I'd say a bit of light relief for that Lewes backline as Hannah Jones has been taken off, and she was certainly someone that was causing a real threat to the central defenders of Lewes.
Her and Olivia Johnson, who's still on the pitch. She's walking quite gingerly, though, on that far side. Of course, she looked like a right handful in that first half. Haven't really seen much of her in this second period. Here goes
Howe's
Howes.
speculative effort never really had the legs, or indeed the accuracy, to test Marshall Miranda, who hasn't actually had a save to make.
No.
But she's in the woodwork, come to her aid not once but twice in a matter of seconds.
Of course, Paula Howes looking for a second triumph in the Sussex Transport Cup.
It's got to be a nervy moment, and Moore took no risks and did her job well. That's a lovely control on the chest. Gilligan smashes it into the face of...
Ball smashed into the
Pegram.
face and Lewes with a foul. I mean, I don't know where the foul was committed there, but Lewes won't mind.
Well, Libby Hester is another young player who's graced this turf many times and scored many goals on this pitch in Youth Cup finals over the years. Is now leading the line for Brighton. One of the younger players in the development squad is Howes has somehow got behind the back line again. Howes on the turn, shots blocked. On the follow-up, it's into the corner, it's just past the post. Agonisingly close again, it took a deflection, it's going to be a corner.
Wow.
Ollie is speechless beside me here.
I think it's just so positive to see how Lewes have really managed to just wake up in this second half and really just bring the game to Brighton. They look like the team that are going to win it now. I'm not wanting to tempt fate in any way.
Keeper comes, gets a fist on it, follow-up comes in and it's over the top.
Just got the foot underneath that.
It's a wild effort in truth.
You can see the newspaper headlines written in the Lewes local newspaper. And what a storyline that would have been. But Lewes certainly in the ascendancy about 20 minutes ago. It felt like Brighton were, but Lewes have said, no, it's my turn.
Long ball, well controlled by Fowler. Wins the free kick as well. It's a real handful on that far side. It's an interesting moment as we're into the last 7 minutes, 6 minutes or so at Culver Road. The Brighton fans around us here start to rank up their voices again.
It's been an extremely entertaining 0-0 so far, hasn't it, Dean?
It certainly has.
Scoreline makes it look less exciting than it has been.
It's good battling. And there's three up here for Lewes as Howes steps inside, not one but two challenges. Looks for support and it's outside. Instead she's played it through the middle to Ginger. Gilligan was in acres on this near side.
Just overhit that one, Howes. I mean, it was excellent footwork to get
Strong
into that
challenge.
position.
Carpenter just thought she was going to pull the trigger. And now it's got to defend us. Here goes Hester. Hester finds Fowler. Milner. There's a player free at the back post. It takes a deflection. Brighton still going momentarily, but Brandt gets it clear. Picked up by Pegram.
Come on, Brighton! Come on, Brighton!
Heavy touch is picked off, and Brighton could be caught short at the back here. Lovely footwork and ball.
You could see that's frustrating there for Katie Gilligan as she waved her arms up in the air to say she was the option, and she was the correct option. And I think that's perhaps just where a little bit of player immaturity means that they may try to just force it quickly and direct as soon as possible.
Nice touch. Ginger couldn't quite beat the second Albion player. Nice turn from Bulmer. Brandt equally with a clever touch at the other end.
She's a really good second half, Maddie Brandt.
Proctor tries to work the ball out wide and it's just under hit. It's a bit like a basketball game. It's
really
going back and
is.
forth.
If you have a go, I'll have a go. That's the motto of these sides. And now it feels like Brighton are the one that are enjoying this attacking possession.
That's an arrow. Loose touch from Fowler. Not often I've said that as Gilligan comes in. She was caught long enough, but the referee's paid advantage as Howes could be in. Howes trying to force her way through and eventually on the cover, and the free kick's gone against Howes in the end.
And all along while she was on the ball, the referee was waving advantage.
Well, she never really had control of the ball. It seemed like it's a real arm wrestle as the two players.
And now they're down on the floor. You can see that them chasing Paula Howes all the way to the penalty area took it out of them, especially at this late period, Dean.
When you look around the pitch, there's about 4 or 5 players down on their knees.
I mean, props to Layla Proctor. She's played every minute of this game in the middle of the park. She's been brilliant.
But with every minute that passes,
Stadium announcement
we are
public and player safety
certainly getting closer to the dreaded situation where penalty shootout might well be a reality to separate these two sides. It's amongst the crowds. Good to see a lot of the younger Lewes squads in attendance supporting the senior side.
And hoping that they could be playing this fixture one day.
Ginger just trying to flick it back into the path of Proctor. Just got a bit scrappy again before Gaunt got a touch in. Plenty of space for Milner on this near side, and that's exactly where the ball has come. Milner's touch, and Milner's still going. Milner looks to get the cross, has to settle for the corner. Good defending from Brandt to block off the angle.
Come on, Brighton! Come on, Brighton! Come on, Brighton! Come on, Brighton!
Well, Brighton have certainly lost a lot of their height with their substitutions, but there's always the skipper, just Pegram, who's got both hands up. Just
Show that she is an option.
And that's exactly where the ball has gone. And it's cleared away, and the rebound is deflected by her own player.
Wow.
It was Hester that blocks her own player's shot.
You felt like that was destined to hit the back of the net there, Dean.
It was Fowler who had the effort.
One of Brighton's strongest players this game as well has been Evie Milner. The way she's managed to glide with the ball, being firm in possession, being confident, and always looked positive when she's got on the ball and just wanted to attack. That's it. When she gets the ball to her feet, she just wants to attack.
Moore was sort of rushed into that one, and that wasn't where she intended to play the ball. Gilligan steps in for Lewes. There's a bit of space up. Lewes have committed bodies forwards, and if Howes can play the ball right, they could well be in. It's 2 players screaming to get into the box. Is this the chance for Lewes? Oh, it's agonisingly just in front of Carpenter. Ginger will recover.
Wow.
Here's Gilligan. Nice footwork. Steps inside the first, but couldn't get past Atenero. But maybe she can get the cross off, but Brighton get bodies back and can get it clear.
Let's go, Brighton! Come on, Brighton!
There's Milner.
Come on, Brighton!
Looking to do it all on her own. Ginger just open up for her.
Excellent from Brandt just before that, and you could see number 7, Kayla Ginger, really fancied to just square it.
Challenges
Look at that
flying
commitment
in
from Hove.
both sides. As Carpenter, a bit of space in the box for Carpenter. Is this the moment? Oh, what a save!
Wow.
Marshall Miranda there at the near post.
I really cannot believe what we're seeing. This has been one of the best endings to a football match I think I've genuinely ever seen.
That was going to be the headline. Carpenter scoring against their parent club, but it just didn't happen.
You just feel like Lewes are just creating all these fantastic opportunities.
No cross in towards Ginger, cleared away. It's going to be 6 added minutes as the shot comes in from the edge of the area and it skews high and wide.
Minimum of 6 minutes additional time.
Carpenter again,
Minimum of 6 minutes.
her eyes
Dean.
lit up, and
Come on, Brighton! Sort it out!
you just feel the headlines are written for her, don't you?
And when they squared it across the face of goal, you felt that was surely going to be where they found the back of the net. If they don't end up winning this final, they will feel completely hard done by, but also extremely proud. Both sides have put in an excellent effort this evening. Brilliant save as well. That's the first time the goalkeeper Savannah Marshall Miranda's had to make a save. Fairly straightforward in a way, but plenty of power behind it. So the fact that she didn't parry it into a dangerous area is just as efficient as actually making the save itself.
Ball's allowed to bounce not once but twice, and it's a late blow on the skipper Hannah Godfrey after the ball had gone from Milner. And now she's chasing back at Gilligan and gets the challenge in as well. And this could be the breakaway for Hester. Hester looking for support. Turns and gets the ball back to Milner. Milner can't get the better of Gilligan. Gilligan looks to take it on her own. Carpenter, first time ball through, but there's no one in a red shirt there.
She'll be frustrated with that one, Carpenter. Just rushing it. You don't need to rush it there.
Tied pass at the end of this one.
More just a hopeful clicked ball forward.
Milner just getting in the way of Libby Hester there. Awkward bounce. Ginger nipping in for Lewes. Brighton come again. Fowler helps it on. And this is Brighton's chance. Great block. Lewes throwing bodies on the line again.
Emily Moore's positioning there. She was more over towards the left of her goal. I was thinking if they struck it to her right.
Handball calls against Nader Potter, and Brighton have got a free kick 30 yards from goal. We're into the third minute of 6 additional minutes. The Lewes fans wait nervously.
Well, Dean.
Brighton fans equally as nervous, but in expectation and hope.
The sun may have gone down, but it's certainly got hotter here at Culver Road.
Come on, Brighton!
Brighton, the chance
So
to
3
win it
minutes
late
gone.
on. Four-person wall. It's chipped towards goal, and it's behind the keeper who has to get it the second attempt as Milner was coming in.
Emily Moore had the chance to throw it out there, but the referee blew her whistle to just halt Ruby Gaunt, who was goading Moore, just trying to put her off and slow down Moore's thought process there before she threw it out, and it's completely worked. No card given to Ruby Gaunt, and just a chance for Lewes gone begging to try and hit them on the counter, which is frustrating for any rooks watching.
That's a slice, and here is the chance. Good defending again, good recovery. Slip from Godfrey.
The players were so ambitious there to get forward, and you've got to admire it. But the ball, they were running quicker than the actual ball itself. And once it bounced, they were just a yard in front of it and lost control.
Brighton are going to throw on some height for this last set piece. Also, maybe thinking about penalties.
Penalties as well. That is looming.
It's going to be now or never, you feel. Arabella Hall takes up a position right on the edge of the 6-yard box. As does Pegram. As the corner is underneath the keeper, he fists it. There's no one there as Hall keeps the attack alive. No one around her for support. Manages to dink out a cross, and it's going to be another corner.
Brighton look to be the one to end this in the ascendancy. Penalties looming for both sides. That's what Lewes will hope for now, given the way this stoppage time looks to end.
Milner, the low bouncing delivery, turned away by Howes, but doesn't really clear her lines. It's picked up by Johnson, who's just come back on. She's left one on Howes as well. Clipped back into the mixer. Lewes, can they break here? They just need to find a ball of quality. Referee has allowed more than 6
Sarah
minutes to be
Harvey.
played, but Harvey comes across as Brighton searching late for what surely would be the winning goal. Headed away. Ginger just lets the ball run across her and allows the wood to be coming in, and here's Milner, just forced away from goal. Milner teasing, working it back onto her left foot. That's the opportunity gone for a cross. Yes, it has. The referee takes a long look at her watch.
That's
the ball's
6
cleared
minutes
up
up
her
on my
line.
watch.
We had those substitutions, and that indeed is that. Imogen Gates blows the whistle. Nothing to separate Brighton and Lewes in the Sussex Women's Challenge Cup final. It's going to penalties, Ollie.
Superb effort from both of those sides. Regardless of the outcome, they've both showed an exceptional advertisement of how they play and the women's game. They should all be immensely proud of the shift they put in. And I'm sure both defences and goalkeepers will be very happy that they kept it as a clean sheet.
Well, indeed, Lewes will reflect on the opportunities that went their way in the first half when Howe's effort was cleared off the line by Pegram, in the second half when both Gilligan and Ginger were denied by the crossbar. Those are the moments, those are the close moments that ultimately went Brighton's way, and will that turn into victory come the course of the taking of penalties?
Well, what is going to unfold now, that's something that's quite exciting about penalties. The roller coaster of emotions that's now going to be experienced in this ground in the next 10 minutes is really quite exciting. Of course, for those players there, they'll really have to hold their nerve. I was speaking to one of the assistants who works with Brighton, and she was telling me about how the development game is played for the English women's sides, and when you're an academy team, you'll play other sides up and down the country within the Women's Super League, and if it does finish a draw, even if it is just in a league phase, it will still go to a penalty shootout. So therefore you could argue Brighton may have the upper hand in knowing how to deal with these. I'm sure they've had draws this season. Now, of course, we were unable to find out, but they would have had draws this season that would have taken them to the penalty shootout. So they've probably been in this situation, not just this season, Dean, but the season prior as well. Lewes, I can't remember the last time they had a penalty shootout. Actually, I can. It was in the 23-24 season, a Continental Cup game, and they beat, I believe it was either Crystal Palace or Watford. Lewes fans, if you're watching back home, please do correct me if you're screaming at the TV saying, no, you are completely wrong, Ollie. But I remember it was in the 23-24 season. Or am I being completely stupid and thinking out loud?
Well, you are definitely thinking out loud.
I am, I'm sorry. But, no, it was... And regardless of what happened, whether it was this season or the season before, Emily Moore was heroic in it. And she has saved penalties.
She has got a penchant, as they say, for for penalty shot stopping, and it comes down now to the two goalkeepers really. And see, Marshall Miranda came on at half time. I love it as Ollie's now feverishly looking back at Lewis's fixtures over the last 2 years to see when that penalty shootout took place. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Chatting with the assistant coaches at the Brighton development squad, that penalties are part of their regular practice in their games. They regularly take part in them, so they have that experience, and I suppose it makes sense in a way to make a penalty shootout less daunting and more of a formality, so that when it does come to the big occasion, when they are senior pros, they're well versed in it.
I suppose that's largely what the whole England development programme is all about. It's about not just training these players to be able to score penalties for their sides, but actually also being able to do it on the bigger stage for England. So it goes greater than just the league. It goes on that international stage that all these players will want to be at in some point. And I'm fairly sure now, it was in the beginning of in the 23-20-24. So I'm big on results, Dean.
I can tell.
And yes, it went to a draw against Crystal Palace in the Continental Cup. Emily Moore was in goal, and she was the reason why they won the penalty shootout. So Lewes, the last time they had a penalty shootout, they won. They'll be hoping, with a completely new squad now, I think the only player who actually featured in that penalty shootout would have been Emily Moore.
Well, what I like about the penalty shootout on a neutral ground like this is that both sets of fans can congregate behind the goal. And what we're seeing right now is a lot of the Lewes fans have made their way over here from the main stand behind that goal, and a whole section of fans are also making their way from the opposite end of the pitch over to this end. So everyone is going to be where the action is from both sets of supporters. So there is no advantage one way or the other. And it's probably no surprise that the person taking the first penalty is none other than Paula Howes. And you've commentated on a fair amount of Lewes games. Have you commentated on a Paula Howes penalty?
No, I've commentated on a few worldies, especially in the 2022-23 season.
Well, Howes steps up. Keeper goes the wrong way.
Putting the P in Paula. Well done, Paula Howes.
This is a perfect start for Lewes, sending the keeper the wrong way.
And that will just settle the nerves in the team, put the pressure on Brighton. But I'm saying that, those nerves will then just switch if Brighton find the back of the net now.
It was Clarabella Hall who came on deep into added time, or came back on, I should say, deep into added time. Little shimmy as she sets herself up to take this penalty. It's deliberate pacing back. It's a very central run up. Hall over the bar. Well, she made a really deliberate step back there.
Wow.
Got right underneath it, and that's not the penalty she was practicing in front of her.
Well, here's Olivia Carpenter up against her parent club. What is going through her mind right now?
Get the ball in the back of the net.
Stop talking, Ollie.
Carpenter against Marshall Miranda to give Lewes a 2-goal lead in the penalty shootout. Oh, what a penalty! Into the top corner. You do not save those.
Wow, that's an exceptional penalty from Olivia Carpenter. Had a good couple of chances in that second half when the ball just came across the face of goal, and she was the player around it in the close vicinity that couldn't get that decisive touch, but that was brilliant.
Well, Brighton, you feel, have to score or they will have a mountain to climb. Perfect penalty. The cheers you can hear are from the Brighton fans who have stayed, majority of them, in this stand here.
You could argue it's an advantage Lewes.
But because it is. They lead by 2 goals to 1.
In terms of the fans, but yes, Dean.
It's Ginger comes up to take this penalty.
It's the last 20 minutes, it just really took it out of me. I can't speak anymore, so apologies.
That's because you're
for those
bouncing
listening.
up and down around me whenever Lewes have a chance to score.
What? I don't know what you're talking about.
Here's Ginger to restore Lewis's 2-goal advantage. It's low, it's right in the corner, sneaks in. Wow, there was a pause of breath momentarily around the ground. But it sneaks in, and that's the perfect penalty.
Excellent penalty. When the keeper goes the right way and you still find it in the back of the net, either it's been an exceptional penalty or a goalkeeping error, but there it was the former.
Balmer is up next for Brighton to take their third penalty, and with each penalty now the pressure steps up for Brighton. It's casual and it's perfect, right into the top corner. I think even if Emily Moore had guessed the right way, she was never getting near that one.
Well, if someone deserves to score in this penalty shootout, it's this player here, Maddie Brandt. Been exceptional at left back, been like a stone wall at times. Often fear with left-footed penalty takers. I feel like they often go the same way.
Brandt taking their time to place the ball on the spot.
Often favour going to the goalkeeper's left. Is that what Brandt's going to do now? It's
No,
not!
it's not.
But the
Saves it.
goalkeeper thought so!
Perfect side-footed penalty.
And now it's sudden death for Brighton. This is exactly what Lewes would have wanted going into this penalty shootout.
And it's the skipper that steps up. Quite simply, Jess Pegram, who was a hero earlier on, has to score.
What a brilliant game in centre half.
Pegram taking a similar run up to the one Hall did earlier. Here
Emily
is
Moore.
Pegram. Lewes have won it! And you can see what it means to the fans, you can see what it means to the players who go as a person to congratulate Emily Moore. Lewes the heroes.
The champions of Sussex, Lewes Football Club. Exceptional from the Rooks, but exceptional from both sides. What a 0-0 that was. What a game that was.
Just away from the celebrations, I've got to give a shout out to Paula Howes, who is going over to each individual Brighton player to shake their hands, and she's encouraging her teammates who are now doing the same thing. Celebrate by all means, but also congratulate the opposition, because it has been a brilliant game. Two even teams. Probably on balance of the big chances of the game, we have the deserved winners in the shootout. Lewis's penalties were absolutely on point, they were excellent, and Brighton, well, twice, two players took the same technique, and it's resulted in two misses and two shots off target. First from Clarabella Hall and then from Jess Pegram, the result of which means that Lewes have beaten Brighton Hove Albion 4-2 in a penalty shootout, and they are the Sussex Women's Challenge Cup winners.
Excellent, absolutely brilliant. What a moment for the club. What a time to get there. Back to Sussex winning ways, of course. This is their first.
It's their fifth trophy. Fifth time they've lifted the famous trophy.
But exceptional for the club. I mean, they've had a hard season at times. They've had to dig deep. They've then gone through brilliant spells where they've looked so assertive. Of course, noting that 5-game winning streak within that 7-game period. So they've had really good parts of this season. And look at them celebrating with their fans. This will mean so much for the club. Of course, this time last year, they'd just been relegated from the Women's Championship. But this is the perfect way to go into next season with such a momentum, knowing they're the champions of Sussex. There's no reason why they can't be dreaming of bigger and better things next season.
Well, it's 2018, the last time Lewes won this trophy. And the satisfaction this year, as you said, with everything that's gone on, over the last couple of years, the changes at the club, the changes in the team, a rebirth, a regrowth.
They've had, yes, exactly. I mean, so the amount of players that still stayed with Lewes until August that actually finished last season, I think I can count on one hand. You've got Lois Roche, Hannah Godfrey, Emily Moore. Those are the three players. The rest was a complete rebuild, buying in young talent. And when they started off slowly, some fans were saying it's too young, their squad is too young, this isn't going to be able to compete. But then they proved the doubters wrong. And it's exceptional to see this is how their season has ended. Yes, it started off slowly, but my word, has it ended emphatically.
Well, some of the players may well have gone, but one thing remains constant throughout with the football club, and that's the fans. And you can see how much it means to these hundreds of fans that have come down from Lewes here this evening. They said it was 595 in attendance. I would say it was pretty much evenly split between the two clubs. And so those 250, 300 odd Lewes fans that are in attendance today are celebrating, and quite rightly, in front of us here, the Brighton development squad, the under-21s, are also being applauded. They put a fantastic effort in this evening, and particularly in that second half, they bossed large parts of it without ever really troubling Emily Moore.
Of course. It looks like they might be going down the tunnel, Dean.
Well, they've got to stay around to pick up their medals. They may not want to collect the medals that they're going to win, but they do certainly have to do that.
Well, one thing to point out as well about the Lewes fans, they may not just be fans, they're also owners in the club. Do remember that. What makes Lewes so special is the fact that they are fan-owned, and that's what makes them such a pillar of the community, and they deserve this. The town deserves this.
It certainly does. And there are lots of other celebrations, seeing some of the development squads of Lewes celebrating. The under-16 squad were also in attendance.
Of course, Brighton were really strong too. They did have Lewes, it looked like, on the ropes in the first part of that second half, Dean. You felt like they could have potentially ran away with it if they were to score whilst being in that momentum. But Lewes managed to hold their own. And the defending as well was sublime. Sarah Harvey, for me, player of the match, if I had to give it to someone, just because of how influential she was. And look at her running over to her family. What a moment that is. What a moment that is for all the families, really, watching their children on their stage, watching their nieces on this stage.
Paula House, you can probably see in the shot that you're looking at, was waving her, windmilling her arms around. Football, so important to so many people, and each and every player celebrating as they should do.
So they're going to have their medals presented to them by, of course, board members Georgia Rooney and John Edwards.
Let's just take a moment to remind you that this was brought to you today, powered by your instant replay. And if you enjoy today, you're certainly going to enjoy next week at the Amex, where next Thursday night we bring you the Sussex Transport Senior Cup final between last year's winners Horsham and Littlehampton Town. What a game that's going to be. If it's anyway living up to half of what we've seen tonight, we know we're in for a good one. You can join both me and Ollie there in person at the Amex. Come and say hello.
Do you remember the last time a Sussex final game went to penalties, Dean?
I think I was commentating on it.
Worthing Bogner.
Indeed. And a hero was born that night. Young Brighton, young Worthing goalkeeper.
Of course, Harrison
and medal presentations.
I don't know.
And
Anyway.
the match official and player medals will be presented by Georgia Rooney, board member here of the Sussex County FA, and John Edwards, deputy chair of the Sussex County FA. First up, we would like to welcome tonight's match officials to the top table. That's fourth official Michelle Watkins, assistant referees August Vakiewicz and Izzy Childs, and match referee Imogen Gates.
And of course, what was poignant about this evening, as we mentioned earlier on in the commentary, that this is the first time 4 female match officials
who have looked over a game for the Sussex FA. They are Imogen Gates, Olga Svekovic, Izzy Childs and Michelle Watkins. So congratulations to those four.
And now we would like to welcome the manager of tonight's runners-up, Danny Bowman. And now, for the manager of tonight's winners, Natalie Lawrence.
So Natalie Lawrence, of course, came to Lewes after a stint with New Zealand. She was assistant manager to Scott Booth last season from 2024 onwards, and then after his departure became the first team head coach at the beginning of this season. She, of course, steered Lewes not just to the victory tonight, but also to a mid-table finish in the National South table.
Brighton and Albion.
What a brilliant effort. A skillful, technical side, which of course Nat Lawrence did say before the game that they'll be well coached, physically strong, quick and organised, and they were all of that. People standing up on their feet all around us applauding these two sides.
Lewes.
And the Rooks. Sarah Harvey happy to lead her side, and why not? What a game! With Layla Proctor as well. I don't think anyone would be complaining of Sarah Harvey's want to be the one near the trophy. She's a big reason why it stayed 0-0. Captain Lewis Rochelle, vice captain.
We ask the captain of the winning team, Hannah Godfrey, to approach the top table. This year's Sussex Women's Challenge Cup on behalf of Lewes.
So the winners of the Sussex Women's Challenge Cup are Lewes, and they will celebrate long into the night. It's party time in Lewes. 90 minutes couldn't separate the two clubs. Twice the woodwork denied them. A defensive clearance off the line from Pegram denied them, but they weren't denied on penalties. They kept their nerve with 4 perfect penalties, and that was enough to see them crowned winners. How are you feeling, Ollie?
Really, really happy for the club. They really deserve it after the rough year they had at the beginning of last year. They deserve it big time. Go get yourselves down the Royal Oak, a fitting place where Lewes Football Club was founded, of course, all those years ago. Thank you very much, Dean. It's been an honour to be alongside you here at Culver Road.
Absolutely, always a pleasure, and we look forward to doing it all again next week at the Amex for the Sussex Transport Senior Men's Cup Final. For me, it remains to say goodbye. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for tuning in. Tonight's winners of the Sussex Women's Challenge Cup are Lewes.